Inside this video right here, I'm going to share with you 3 things you absolutely need to know about cardiac emergencies. Here we go. Hey everyone, Evan again, the Paramedic Coach. I'm back here with a brand new video. Today I'm talking about cardiac emergencies. I got 3 things you gotta know when it comes to cardiac emergencies. Before we get started, do me a solid. Smash that like button, helps me out with YouTube, and hit subscribe. Tap that notification bell. That way you never miss any of my content here and you crush school and you crush those national registry exams. Now here we go. Risk factors, we're starting off first with number 1. So these are the cardiac risk factors you gotta know when you assess a patient. What's the likelihood of them having a cardiac event, like an MI, a heart attack, okay? The mnemonic is SAD CHF, okay? SAD CHF is the mnemonic. Shout out to John Blitzky Jr. for this mnemonic, who's a PA. Now, the first piece, S is for smoker. A is age over 40, okay? D is a diabetic. Being a diabetic is one of the number 1 risk factors for having heart trouble, okay? C is for a high cholesterol, a history of. Maybe they're on Lipitor, for example, right? Crestor. H is for high blood pressure, okay? So maybe that patient has a history of high blood pressure. Some meds they might be on, like metoprolol, low pressor, atenolol, stuff like that, okay? And finally, did somebody in their family history have a heart attack really young, like in their 30s or 40s? That's something to be concerned of. There's your risk factors right there. Now I got 2 more things here to talk to you about. Let's dive into it. All right, so here is number 2. So many students mess this up. You're not. It's right here. It's called Beck's triad. Any exam out there on the face of the earth is going to have this. You got to know this code. Beck's triad is for cardiac tamponade. I'll say it again. What was that? Beck's triad is for cardiac tamponade. Now here it is. It's JVD, it's muffled heart sounds, and it's hypotension. This is the signs and symptoms of cardiac tamponade. When you see this on a question, that's where you go. Now let's move to number 3. All right, you're doing good. Here's number 3. One of the most common questions I get is pulmonary edema versus pulmonary embolism. They sound similar, and when you learn this for the first time, you go, oh, which one's which? Let's solve that right now. Okay, here it is. Pulmonary edema. I'll put a picture right over on the screen right here. Pulmonary edema has to do with the heart failing as a pump. It has to do with congestive heart failure. That's CHF. So remember this. I have another video on here. I'll put a link in the description down below on heart blood flow. What happens is the blood backs up. The patient with pulmonary edema, what happens is you're basically drowning in your own blood, which is why, and remember this for the rest of your career, a CHF patient coughs up pink, frothy sputum. Why is that? There's blood in their lungs. That's pulmonary edema. Pulmonary embolism has to actually do with the pulmonary artery. It's got nothing to do at all with the bronchioles or the bronchi. It's got to do with the artery that supplies blood flow, the pulmonary artery. It can get blocked. So let's say I have down here in my calf, I have a DVT, a deep vein thrombosis. Thrombosis like a piece of plaque, right? That piece of plaque can break off. It travels up my venous system because veins go towards the heart, arteries go away. Remember that? And what's going to happen is it travels up. Here's my IVC. It's going to travel in, go into my right atrium, through a tricuspid valve, right? And where's it going to go? Into the right ventricle. Exactly. Then from there, in that right ventricle, it's going to enter the next step, which is the pulmonary artery. When it goes through there, depending on how big that clot is, it can be a giant pulmonary embolism or a smaller one. I've seen smokers that are young, 20s, 30s, come in with pulmonary embolisms, right? So this is how, for the rest of your career, you're always going to remember that. If right now you're struggling to understand this material, maybe you're in a really accelerated class, or maybe you just want to become the best provider you can be. Maybe you're getting ready for national registry exams. With all that in mind, even including on-the-job tips, I've put together an entire video vault of over 180 videos from pre-EMT all the way to literally your first year as a paramedic, including national registry prep for every level. Link in the description down below. If you go right now, I'll give you lifetime access. My friends, I'll see you soon. Welcome and take care.
Don't waste any time. Don't be hesitant and just do it, because I know this program works. And I know it got me to where I was, where it's been a year without school, from EMT to, hey, I passed my test in 70 questions. Like, go for it. You could do it. Like, do not hesitate and don't waste any time.
People that don't know you, they need this program. This program is not a choice. To me, this program is a habit.
It takes thousands and thousands of pages in the books, and you just narrow it down and just make everything simple to pass the registry. So it's great content, man. I promise you, it's worth it.
Took this with 3 weeks left to go in my class, and I'm not sure if I would have been able to pass my course or the NREMT first try without this course.
The fact, like when I was taking the national, and I would read the question and I would be like, whoa, Evan literally just went over this in the car. So it helps.
I got to the point where I was just ready to spill all my knowledge onto this freaking test. So I'm like, you know what, man, just go ahead, go for it. Open it up, boom, congratulations, you passed. It was outside of having my children, man, it's probably the happiest day of my life, bro, to be honest with you.